I'm joined today by James, director and writer of Pitfall, which is out in America on the 29th. Hello, James. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me. Appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you for agreeing. I enjoyed it very much when I saw it back at Panic Fest now, which feels a
Oh, you
lifetime
saw
ago.
you saw it at Panic Fest?
Not a Panic Fest.
Oh,
I could only dream to come to an American festival because you do it very
oh,
differently over there.
yeah. I tend to forget that they do it virtually as well. Yeah, no, Panic Fest. They had a great lineup this year, so we were very, very honored to be amongst them. So,
So just going straight and grabbing the whole bull by the horns. What is Pitfall?
Pitfall is about it's a survival thriller slasher kind of a about a young man who gets separated from his friends when they're camping and hiking in the woods. And he falls into a 10-foot deep hunter's trap, a pitfall, a 10-foot deep pit lined with spikes. And he's impaled through his leg and he's trapped. And he slowly starts to realize that his fall wasn't an accident and that this trap was actually left out there for him and that there's this deranged hunter in the woods hunting people with pitfalls and other various uh, contraptions and traps and so on.
I have to ask a dual prong question here because one is, what's your feelings on camping? Because that could change the nature of what the origins of this movie were when you put pen to paper.
I like the idea of camping, but certainly I'm still very much a city guy, so it's like I'm still very cautious of like if we're going out camping in the wilderness or something, like definitely want to bring enough supplies, definitely want to bring, you know, some bear spray or a knife or,
Oh, yeah.
gun for that matter. Everybody who watches these movies and everything becomes just such huge gun-toting advocates. Like when they're watching it, my wife, very, very liberal lady, but watches this movie or, watches horror movies in general. She's like, why
Hmm.
don't they have a gun? I'm like, I don't know. Do people just carry guns everywhere? I would advocate at least bring some kind of protection, whether it be bear spray or something going to the woods. So I don't mind going out camping. Is
Hmm.
that fear and caution still within me? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, at least you're not Australian because I don't know how any Australian would want to go camping. That country is terrifying. When you say bears, that's equally terrifying, I'll be honest. Yeah.
I God, I can't imagine what all the wildlife and everything that they encounter in the outback and everything. I don't know. I mean, just dealing with the kangaroos, these jacked
Yes.
kangaroos and everything, it's one thing, but all the spiders and snakes and things like that, I can't even imagine what else.
Oh, yeah.
Hope to go
Everything.
there one day, but I'm just like that's always been a part of the back of my mind. I'm like, what am I going
So,
to encounter?
so that was the origin then? Your wife basically asking the question, why aren't these people prepared? Because it's a valid question. As a horror fan, it's one I've asked myself many, many times.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think I mean that's not where this came from, but like certainly I just thought it was funny that
Hmm.
creating these kinds of situations or having these movies and stuff and having the audience kind of engaged in like what would I do in that situation. So you get those kinds of responses like, oh well, if it was me in that situation I would do this, or if it was me in that situation I'd do that. So I love those kinds of survival thrillers and survival horror films and stuff. So I thought combining the two, taking a movie like a single location kind of
Hmm.
a movie like Buried or 127 Hours or something like that, and but making it more exciting and kind of mixing it up with a sort of a backwoods slasher. I just thought, I'm like, well, I haven't seen that before, so that would be kind of fun to do. So you have these like two storylines running parallel to each other. You have the guy in the pit trying to survive and just battle the elements, and then you have the friends looking for him who are being
Hmm.
hunted by the hunter themselves. So I just thought that would be fun to have that kind of dynamic to go back and forth, and I thought it
Yeah.
worked out very well.
I mean, essentially, there is three stories running concurrently. There's or maybe more actually, if I lost count a little bit, as the origin story, which I won't go into because it's devastating and people need to experience that firsthand. There's
Yeah,
the pit, there's the
yeah,
hunter, and there's sort of this. I don't know how to word it, but if you've seen Shaun of the Dead is almost like a concurrent movie that they bump into halfway in. There's an
yeah.
element of that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of influences and stuff that this movie has sort of taken from or just, I mean, there's certainly, it's unavoidable to be compared to like
of course,
Hills of Eyes or Friday the 13th or whatever. Or there's always like some little element that I'm like, oh, I
Hmm.
took this from that or whatever. I kind of take from the best and try to make it my own. Hopefully it
Yes.
comes off a bit more fresh.
Um. So, I want to loop around to the location because it's one of those things. You make People make horror movies in the woods all the time, but how do you actually go about that? Because one piece of woodland is just as good as the other piece of woodland. What's special about one that makes it tick for your movie, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was very difficult actually finding our forests. I think it was a couple of things as far as the aesthetic and the kind of overall terrain and the different kinds of looks and stuff we get. And then a mixture of like the next question is it logistically sound to let us shoot there and everything? Do we have the run of the place, or are we going to experience hikers or campers, like real people coming in and out of
Hmm.
our shots or something? So we looked around all over British Columbia and outside of Vancouver in Canada, and uh, we were looking at national forests and parks and stuff, and the red tape with that was going to be a headache. And so we actually came upon a couple private properties. There was like one gentleman who had just acres and acres and acres, like tens of acres or whatever, probably like even like 100 acres or something like that. I don't know the actual number, but it was huge. It was just miles and miles of forest, and it was all private property. So we kind of had the run of the place for that. I believe Last of Us shot there because we kept
Oh wow.
finding pieces of
Okay.
old sets and stuff there.
Yeah.
And what was it? That was really amazing. And so we kind of stitched that sort of hero forest with another forest from a film ranch that was a bit more accessible and it wasn't too far away from town and civilization. So that was good. But we kind of like mix and match both of them. I think the film ranch one we did some more stunts there and we were able to dig into the ground and actually create like the starting place of some holes and stuff. But we would then uh, expand or extend the holes and have those match our interior pit set because we built all the pits by hand and just so we can control the elements and control the lighting and so on. It's going to be harder to dig a 10-foot deep hole and so on. Uh,
Yeah.
but we wanted to get, the cameras and jibs and everything in there. So digging a real hole was going to be a bit more challenging than just having our hero set in a warehouse in a studio. So yeah, we had built three sets. One was on location. One was in our stage, and that was like our 10-foot hero set. And then we had a shorter one that we were oh, spoiler, whatever, that we put in a water tank and that we were submerging into the water. So that was yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I always find that sort of thing interesting because the location is a character. Um,
Yeah.
and it just reminds me of a movie from a few years ago, which people don't talk about anymore. I think it was Jordan Downey's Headhunter. I think he shot
Yeah,
that in
Headhunter.
Portugal, and it's the most gothic looking forest I've seen in any movie. So
Yeah,
it's very important.
that movie kind of screwed us up for a while because I remember every producer I knew, every low budget producer I knew at the time, they were like, "Oh, this guy made this movie for like nothing." see you can make movies for nothing. And I'm like, come on now, you can't hold
Yeah,
us to this. Don't expect this. If you're going to give me $5 to make a movie, it's not going to be that. This dude pulled
God,
off a miracle. He was this movie's incredible. It's a work of
yeah,
art for sure. So yeah, those forests are very, very, very beautiful. Yeah, I would love to shoot out there sometime. Or another great film that I kept watching as well was The Ritual. Uh,
well,
uh,
yes, but a great movie. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it was just great. There was a lot of other things, that ended up getting cut or just proved to be a little bit more challenging. Because we ended up shooting this in 18 days, and
Hmm.
it was a very, very fast shoot. So there were certain sequences or certain stunts that kind of got abbreviated or just cut out completely on the day. So that was a little bit of upsetting because there was like a whole sequence that like a whole cliff sequence that we wanted to do, and we kept scouting forever in the locations that were like within our budget and within like our meeting our logistical needs and stuff. It just wasn't proving to like we weren't finding anything any like kind of rocky hillside cliff or anything like that. So I think if had we have gone to like a national park or something, we probably would have had better luck. But there's always hope for a sequel. So
Well, yes, there is that little hook at the end. Kind of linked into that. Was there an ideology to the look of the movie, the cinematography? Because you shoot in this forest, um, and you kind of make it quite difficult to see. You make it like the forest is something to be fearful of, rather than. So was there like an ideology driving that with the cinematography at
I
all?
think with everything, I think the idea was to just keep the movie kind of claustrophobic and
Hmm.
especially with within the pit itself and so on. Um, I did want to have the forest kind of be kind of like a character and you didn't know where the hunter might be leaping out from or
Hmm.
having the camera flying through the forest and stuff and just kind of giving it a little bit more character. There's a few shots and a few sequences where we're just flying through the forest and zooming through. So I don't know. There was a lot of ideas like that where we're kind of like descending upon the characters and stuff and kind of like the
Yeah.
the forest kind of pushing in on them. So I don't know. I think that was kind of always the idea of just sort of having this imposing dread on them. So hopefully that comes across.
Oh, it does absolutely, and you've given me a great segue as well. The traps. Where was the line when you were sort of conceiving them? Because there's a line where it's menacing and it's foreboding and very, very dangerous, and there's a line where it becomes silly. So where did you? I mean, I'm all for
I
silly
wanted
horror
to.
movies, but just there's a line there. That's all I'm saying.
I wanted to, especially in the third act, I wanted to push it a little bit further and
Hmm.
try to like just ramp things up a bit more. And so it's like starting off, and I mean, it, most pitfalls and everything are very much most real pitfalls and everything aren't that deep, but I think we were just trying to push it a little bit further into this sort of heightened reality. Like we wanted it to all be kind of like grounded and taken seriously, but at the same time, some of these action sequences or some of the traps and everything are a bit larger than life, and
Of course, yeah,
some of the bear traps and things like that are really large and really gnarly looking and kind of look handmade. Yeah, I mean it's really funny how when you look at very real things on camera, it just looks kind of silly and stupid. So it just doesn't look as cinematic in my opinion. So I think with this, and I told everybody on set and post and everything, I'm like, subtlety is not in my vocabulary on this movie. We are not going
yeah,
subtle with the violence or the any of the action or anything. So I'm like, we have to go as bold as possible because especially if we're cutting around very quickly, we really need to make this as big and nasty as possible. So yeah, we're gonna have these like large, spike arms, flying out of nowhere, or we're gonna have these, mace ball spiked mace balls, flying out of the sky or whatever, from the tree line. So, it was a lot of fun. I wish we could have done even more. But I think, we're saving that for later
Of course.
if it does well enough.
Yeah, the thing that made me grimace the most was the little bug climbing through his wound. That was, oh.
Oh, good. I'm glad that was always like, oh, we got to have this centipede climbing into his
Yeah.
leg. I just thought that was fun. It gets people a lot.
So last question. How was the reception been for it on the festival scene ahead of its release? And any sorts of plans coming up for it as beyond the American release?
Yeah, so the festival circuit has been great. I mean, it premiered at Screamfest in LA and then Panic Fest. Um, and soon we're wrapping up with Chattanooga Film Fest. So it's been getting a lot of love there.
Hmm.
Meeting a lot of great other filmmakers and fans and stuff that really liked it. A lot of them are, on the edges of their seats and, crying actually. A
Oh,
lot of people are kind
great
of
reaction.
devastated.
Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of devastated that some people are killed, especially some of their favorite characters or whatever. And some people have like confronted me saying, "Why would you kill this character? You're so mean." And I'm like, I'm really sorry, but no, I mean, it's been great. I mean, it's people laugh, people cry, people, it has a little bit of everything. So, people are jumping, people are, on the edge of their seat, grimacing or getting grossed out or whatever. So I think it's just been a fun thrill for everybody. But as far as a release beyond the US. Yeah, I mean, we're constantly pushing everybody, all of our distributors, like, please give it a theatrical release. I believe there's going to be a theatrical release in Canada. As far as the UK goes, I believe it's coming out digitally on VOD June 1st. So you guys don't have to wait very long
Oh, neat.
um,
Oh.
to get it. So that's pretty soon. For the rest of Europe, I'm not sure yet. I haven't been told any dates just yet. I know we've been picked up by some distributors, so I don't think it shouldn't be too far off.
Well, I hope it does very well for you because I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
the hell out of it.
Thank you
Um,
so much. I really appreciate it. And
so
hopefully others enjoy it. And
yeah,
if it does well enough, there's certainly more where that came from.
excellent.
We
And
have a great idea for Pitfall 2 or Pitfalls, whatever. Whatever you're gonna call
as
it.
long as you don't put a fall instead of the A for the fourth one, if you go that far, that's all.
Wait, what?
Like Pitfall with a four for an A, because they always do that. Oh,
I, I
the
was I
Final
was
Destination.
I was ashamedly laughing my butt off, thinking like calling it pitfalls and the S turns into a two and like rotates
Well,
into a two.
it
And I'm
markets
like,
itself, I
is that
guess.
corny?
It is, but sometimes Carney's good.
Yeah, I'm that way sometimes, but we'll see. We'll just maybe call it pitfalls or something.
One of my
Uh,
favorite like horror movies is Tremors, so I'm all in with the sort of the Carney stuff. So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah. I'm
absolutely.
easy. I love Tremors. I think the second one would be even better and even more action packed and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully people take to it and hopefully people see it in theaters and if they miss it there, they can always catch it on VOD in a month. It should be coming
Oh,
out June end of June, I believe,
oh,
in America. So
yeah.
we'll see. And then hopefully the rest of Europe and the rest of the world will catch on soon.
Well, congratulations on the movie, and thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.